Hi everyone, hope you are all doing well. So, New World has been out for 3 days now, and I've been spending, well, over 40 hours of that in-game, so I've got a really good idea now of how the game compares to both open and closed beta, plus what the game experience is going to be like for new players picking up the game for the first time. But we obviously can't kick this thing off without first talking about the server queue times. They have been, well, quite ridiculously long at times, with servers like Utopia having passed over 20,000 players in the queue at one time. And I saw that player numbers reached almost 700,000 on Steam, so it seems that Amazon have obviously significantly underestimated the amount of player demand there was going to be for their game. This is of course pretty disappointing, and honestly I think half the frustration from the player base is the fact that Amazon is supposed to be one of the world's leaders in cloud servers, and yet the biggest problem we're all facing in New World is servers. Going forwards, it seems they are working on adding more worlds, plus increasing the number of players that each server can actually individually support, so hopefully this should somewhat alleviate the problem going forwards. Stability wise though, the servers have actually been pretty good. I've personally had no connection issues, and I've only crashed once over the past 40 hours. In terms of gameplay, nothing core or fundamental has actually really changed since the betas, but the game has fixed some of the worst offending bugs. Things like the audio bug that was extremely frustrating in the last stage of testing. They've also worked to fix some of the worst offending slow respawn rates that caused an awful lot of bottlenecks in the previous testing and a lot of player frustration. Although, despite fixing 95% of them, a few of them still remain in the game, i.e. Overseer Zane, where everyone got bottlenecked waiting to kill one boss. There are still some minor other bugs, like the message of the day bug. If you type O while typing the message of the day, it changes the window. The compass bar doesn't show any resources currently available in the game. But despite these minor problems, on the whole the game does actually feel very polished. There aren't really any game-breaking bugs, just annoying little minor ones sometimes. And I suppose that leads us on to the question, what does the game have to offer, and, well, is it enjoyable? Fundamentally, the game isn't revolutionary. It doesn't come up with any awe-inspiring new mechanics. It makes use of quests, dungeons, levelling, a crafting system. But for me, it's how it implements those things that makes it more of a standout game, one extremely enjoyable to play. Crafting, for example, is just fantastic, really enjoyable system. It incentivizes you to collect it in the open world. You can do basically full-scale focused crafting, or you can just sort of casually collect a few things while you're completing other quests and take them back to town with you. Same with the PvP system, particularly the small scale skirmishes, really enjoyable. Also been enjoying some of the larger 50v50 wars, makes for really good group gameplay, great to play with your guild, stuff like that. Nice that they have these larger scale fights available. I personally don't really mind the questing system, although I would like to see sort of more of a larger variety of different quests and objectives introduced to try and make this sort of a little bit more enjoyable, as it is one of the weaker areas in the game. I'd say the same is also true for the dungeons or expeditions. They are very cool, but I find they don't really have all that much replayability outside of the sort of quest prompts which make you play them. I also kind of dislike the fact they reuse the same monsters from the open world, the same animations and attacks, and they don't really push the game or really bring anything particularly new to the scene. We know going forwards that they have got more expeditions planned to be released in the future, something Scott Lane confirmed in an IGN interview before release. So hopefully they will actually have now a little bit more time to spend on them, updating them, making them more enjoyable. Please bring new monsters, new animations. But actually, more than just the expeditions, we know they have more new content planned going forwards. We know we've got the new weapon, we've had that confirmed, the Void Gauntlet is coming. We also think we know we've got new territory to expand the Eterna map. And this is all going to be really important for the sort of long-term future of the game. We know the game is currently attracting huge player numbers, over 700,000 players a day at peak. And the goal for Amazon is going to shift from how they can attract these players to how they can keep these players interested in the game. And that's where this new content is going to become king. So is the game worth this $40 price tag? In my humble opinion, yes, absolutely. I'm going to be getting hundreds of hours out of the game, which for me at least makes it very good value. Is everyone who plays New World going to enjoy it? No, of course not. But if you accept that the game isn't revolutionary, but a very solid, well-polished MMO that is just at the very beginning of its life cycle, then I think you will have a lot of enjoyment out of it. And that's kind of half the point, right? Everyone compares this game to things like Elder Scrolls Online, but they don't compare it to ESO at launch. They compare it to ESO today, after years and years of development. I mean, frankly, ESO is almost a completely different game today than it was at its launch. New World will also evolve. A lot of new content and changes are going to be coming over the next months and years. And it's probably going to end up at a very different point as it is today. But considering that this is launch, this is one of the more polished MMOs we've seen, and I think New World is starting from a very high base point, which for me is very encouraging. One final topic I want to quickly touch on before rounding out my thoughts would be the cash shop, something that I know has caused a lot of controversy over the past few months. Currently, at release, the cash shop only contains cosmetic items, which is great to see, as I know some people were fearing things like XP boosts etc. at launch, which was going to obviously be pay to win and negatively affect the game, so it's great that they aren't there at all. Although we do need to wait and see what happens with this over the coming months, but let's hope that it stays to a cosmetic only store, and if there is any suggestion from Amazon otherwise and that they're looking to add in some of these boosts and stuff, then we need to make it clear and plain that as a community we don't want this and make our feelings on the issue known. So in conclusion, is New World perfect? Absolutely not. It still has a lot of work to do, but it is a very fun new MMO with some really awesome aspects of the crafting and the PvP. Some people will dislike the combat for not having 20 abilities to use, but for me a fast-paced combat system that relies more on dodging and blocking is more fun than just having 20 variations of a damage ability. But what are your thoughts on this? Have you played at launch, and if so, how have you found the game so far? Do you think I got it right on this review, or am I a little bit off the mark? Either way, do be sure to let me know in the comments down below how you found the game at launch. If you have been enjoying it, do subscribe to the channel. We've got lots more New World content on the way over the next week. Thank you for watching, guys, and I shall see you all on the next video.